Hey guys, it's Mary back with Big on Books with another video. Today I'm bringing you a tag video because I did not read a lot in May, or else I would be doing that. But here we go. So today's tag, obviously you can see we are doing the mid-year freakout tag. And for this, I literally am kind of freaking out because when I reread the list of questions, because I did this last year, I was just like, dear God, what am I going to talk about? Because 95% of my list on Goodreads is manga. And I was just like, how do I fit manga into these categories? So I did my best, but I went through like a really big manga phase for 2 months because I got really big into anime, and that was a short-lived obsession. But here we are with the few books I've read. Okay. So number one is best book you've read so far in 2019. And this is Ignite Me by Tahara Mafi. I binged 3 books, 3, 4, and 5, I believe it was. Five, yes, 5 is out. I binged those so badly, but I really had wanted to read Ignite Me for a long time. It had very much, the first 2 books had very much intrigued me. I was sold on them, and I wanted to see how the story wrapped up, like, clearly, obviously, before, like, to see why Tahara might have, like, added 4 books, 4, 5, and 6. And I thought that was like such a great ending to a series, one of the best I've read. But then there was longer, so but it was still a fantastic book and one of the best I've read this year. The best sequel I've read so far in 2019, I'm going to say Restore Me by Tahara Mafi, because I haven't read a lot of sequels this year. That was basically the only one, I want to say. So I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed getting to know the new characters, getting to see more interactions. I just really love that series. Like I said, I binged books 3 through 5, so I can't distinguish books 4 and 5 right now, but I just love that series so much. New release you haven't read yet, but you want to, is number 3, which is Ronoff by Nadine Brands. I'm sorry, however you say her name. If you have been watching my videos, you must know by now that really the only historical subject I basically will read about is the Romanov legacy, and I blame the 1997 film for that. Anastasia, I love that movie so much. The musical is great. Royal Diaries, historical fiction book, is great. I need to read this book. I read the description, I saw the title, I saw the amazing cover art, and I was just like, I need this book right now. Yet I still don't have the book. I need this book right now, so I need to read this. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year is going to be the 4th Trials of Apollo's book. I am actually meeting Rick Riordan in September at a local bookstore, and he's going to, or they're going to give out signed releases of his book, of the new book, Q&A. You know, that's going to be extremely fun. I still have to read 3. I still have to finish 3. I'm partway through it. It's really good, but I still have to finish 3. 5 is Biggest Disappointment, and this has to be By Your Side by Casey West. I've talked recently about how I love Casey West's books recently. I haven't read all of hers. I felt By Your Side wasn't her best. I expected a little bit more. I don't know what I was really expecting, but I just like really didn't feel as attached and as emotionally invested in the relationship that the characters had in By Your Side in, say, some of her other books, like Listen to Your Heart. I was very interested in that relationship and P.S. I Like You. By Your Side wasn't my favorite, but it definitely wasn't the best book I read this year. 6 is Biggest Surprise. Now, I am going to go into some manga for this because I read so much manga, and I was just like, I gotta put manga in here somewhere. I read so much of it, I gotta put it in here. So, my biggest surprise was the Fruits Basket. I'm sorry. I always want to put an S at the end of baskets. It's Fruits Basket because it's a game in Japan that little kids play. So it's Fruits Basket manga. And the anime is obviously based off the manga, but I was very surprised that it was, I don't want to say good, but that I was interested because I've read some manga before and maybe it was a story that wasn't interesting me, but this kind of just pulled you in. It's about a girl who is living by herself, comes to live with a family called the Suyo family. But the family is cursed with the curse of the zodiac, where if somebody of the opposite sex hugs you, then you turn into the animal of the zodiac you are. So if the main character hugs, say, her one of the people she's living with, she could. So if the main character hugs one of the people she's living with, he could actually turn into a rat, a dog, or a cat. So depending on which one she hugs. So that was an interesting concept. I breezed through the 22, 23 novels. And there's actually like a 3 manga sequel series, and I need to read that too. And which ties into 7, which is favorite new author, debut or new to you. And this is Natsuki Takaya, who wrote Fruits Basket. And I just would really love to read more stories from her. Obviously, I'm going to read the sequel series, but she has another 1 or 2 series out. And I just want to see if it's the like the show that got me into the manga is actually the reason that I like the manga, or if it's just like the story itself. Number 8 is Newest Fictional Crush. So I had a tough one with this because it was really hard to choose between a lot of guys, especially since a lot of those guys were Japanese manga. But I'm only like 30 pages into Everneath by Brody Ashton. I have not read this book before. I've not read this series before. The reason I picked it up was because I've gotten into the musical Hades Town, and it's a Hades and Persephone retelling, and I have like a bunch of books on my list now for Hades and Persephone retellings. But there's this guy named Cole who like is supposedly like really hot. And even though he's only 30 pages in, I like him a lot more than I do any of the other guys in the book. And any of the other guys I've read this year, even though he's kind of an evil character. But, you know, gotta go for the bad boy sometimes. 9 is newest favorite character. And this has got to be Tamaki from Ouran High School Host Club, which is another anime and manga, but Tamaki is this hilariously stupid, cute guy who runs this host club, and basically the plot of Ouran High School Host Club is there is this girl who dresses like a boy to get into school. She ends up breaking a vase she cannot afford to pay back because it is a very rich school and she does not come from that much money. So she works as a host, and eventually, like, the boys in the host club figure out, hey, she's actually a girl. So Tamaki is just like hilarious in every sense of the word, of every sense of the word, of his actions. Sometimes he does do things deliberately. Sometimes he does do things like spontaneously, which are hilarious. But he is definitely one of the best characters I've read this year. Number 10 is Book That Made You Cry. We're going to skip this one because there are no books that have made me cry, but from what I've heard from The Trials of Apollo, The Burning Maze, that one is probably going to make me cry. 11 is Book That Made You Happy. I read not a biography, but it was a behind the scenes of the show Stranger Things. They have a book out called Stranger Things, Worlds Turned Upside Down. And it's all about the beginning of the Duffer Brothers' journey as filmmakers, all the way to season 3. They go through set, costume, characters, name, actors, what they wanted, and it was just kind of so cool to see that backstage kind of look. I've always loved to see how books, movies, TV shows, plays have been put together, because there are obviously these long processes. So I really loved seeing those, and I really loved the new information we got from season 3. 12 is Most Beautiful Book You've Bought This Year Received. I haven't bought that many books this year. I'm trying to be very good. It isn't going well. Because I haven't been reading a lot. But it's got to be Ashante. And that is just like a beautiful cover. It is red, white, and blue because it takes place in France. And she dresses up in all this nice makeup, and it's got, her face is pretty with red rouge lips, and it's just like one of those books that pulls you in because of the cover. I didn't necessarily find it the best book, but it didn't disappoint me as much as By Your Side. Sorry, Casey West. And 13, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Evermore. Not Evermore. Evernie. I don't know why I said Evermore. Am I thinking of the Beauty and the Beast live action movie? And then the third Magnus Chase book by Rick Riordan. And that book really needs to be, that series really needs to be finished. Yeah, I haven't really been that interested in that series in a long time, but I'm going to push through it because I just want to see how this ends. But that is my mid-year freakout tag. What are some of the books that you've been reading or like putting off? Let me know down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.